Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Asian indices, and starting with the ASX 200 here on the 4-hour chart. I won't go into the bigger picture because this particular top here can be part of a bigger bullish trend, so I've called it wave 1, or it can be a top here. I won't know that for a little while just yet, so I just really want to stay within this particular structure here. And one of the first things we do when we see a particular top here is we wait to see if we get 5 waves down or we get 3 waves down. 3 waves down as an A and a B and a C, which would be a bullish move, and we would go straight up from that, or we'll get this A B wave here and then a little C wave coming in through here for wave 4, and then we'll come down here. So working with this here just for the moment, if we take this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the first 5 waves down, and we call this wave 1 and 2 here, from top of wave 2 to bottom of wave 3, the 38.2% retracement level comes in on the top of wave A here. So we can expect wave B, and as we were, and then wave C here to this top, or perhaps the 6,200. So from here we can expect to move lower from here. However, we could also see this as an A and a B and a C wave here and move straight up from here. So if we get a nice tested support on top of 6,200, well then the likelihood of moving up higher from there would be. So to trade from these lows here up to 200 here would be fine, and then get out, and then we just really need to wait to see if we get a support there. If we get a support there, it will play out something like this. So there's no rush. There will be the arrival here, there'll be some sort of reaction, there'll be a first high above the level, and then there'll be some sort of other correct. There'll be a bit of a dance across here, and then looking at these highs here, wherever they may be, then you can move up from that point. But make sure you've got those reference point highs there for a safer trade to the upside. Otherwise, we'll be looking at 5 waves up for wave C, and then we'll look at 5 waves down. Now, the 5 waves down here, it may come down to the 6,050, or it may come all the way down to the 6,000. It may even extend a bit lower. The idea is to count 5 waves down. However, because we've got the extension in the 3rd wave here, then that normally makes wave 1 here and wave 5 roughly the same length. But we can see that that's quite short there, especially if that goes up to the 38.2% retracement level. It would probably just come back down to here. So sometimes we can look at the length of waves, take the length of wave 3 here. There's lots of different ways to get all of this, of course, but taking the 61.8% retracement level here of the, well, 61.8% of that move there, copy that and then put that on here. It takes us down around the 6,050 area here. That's normally quite a good way to do it. Also, if it does trade up higher here, there is a gap in the market here, so especially on the futures market, we'll be looking to cover that if support is found on top of this level here. So let's just imagine for a moment that we do get 5 waves down here. Well, then if we get 5 waves down here, then we need to look at an ABC correction, an A and B and a C, back to the 6,250, which would be roughly the 61.8% mark, and we'll adjust that depending on where the low comes in from here. So yeah, so 5 waves here, 3 waves here, and then another 5 here. So then that would take us down to down lower in this space here, take us down to the to this target area that I've got here. So as wave C of 2, or a 3rd wave being even more bearish at that point. So we've got plenty to look at and plenty to figure out and plenty to trade here. However, the trades, well, they're all 100 points, so it's quite good. So getting this wave B here to wave C here, let's go in and have a bit of a look at that. So 2 hours not going to show us much. 1 hour. So this is what we were working with last time. So we've got wave 3 low here, I'll suggest that now we took part profit here. It's probably, I don't know. I'll leave it with you. If you're going to trade long here, of course, then you'll take your stop out from over here on this particular case here. So I'll leave that with you to think out. But last time we spoke, I think we had 5 waves up here, and we had the A wave here, and we're up in this little space here somewhere. And yeah, so anyway, we've got our B wave in and our C wave coming down here to our 61.8% retracement level, a little bit lower, but there we go. So we're starting to see this move off here, and this will be our target area through here, but be mindful of this gap over here, especially if it's showing up on the futures market. Futures market, there's always a buy. For every buy there's a seller, or vice versa. And just in here, of course, this trend line needs to be become from resistance to support, which is occurring now. You might even be in there a little bit earlier than this. The other point to always look at too is just always take a high and a low here and find out the 61.8 and the 50 here, which comes in right on the trend line here, so that makes it a little bit easier to understand. In understanding that, if that 61.8% becomes a nice support, because at the moment there's a battle going on here, isn't there? And the move up here is can be counted as an A and a B and a C wave to here to the 61.8%. So it could just drop down from here. Okay. Friday we normally look for the bullish day, Thursday bearish, and Friday bullish, and Monday bullish as well. So that's why we need to see if this 6,200 area here becomes, if that becomes support here, this area here, then we need to look at it being bullish from that point, but we really want it to sit on there properly. Yeah, so there's always risk everywhere, but yeah, an A and a B and a C to the 61.8% mark here. So if it's going to fail, that's where it's going to fail from, and that would that block there, that consolidation there, has a relationship with the previous consolidation here as well. So it's always mirroring each other because of the buyers and the sellers taking different sides. I don't think the tick chart's got anything more to say on this. Yeah, it's all just the same, so all good there. Let's move over and have a look at Hong Kong and China. I'm going to do Hong Kong first, so it's got a better sort of shape here. So we're looking for wave 3 up here, and then excuse me, an A wave here, an A and a B and a C wave over here for B. That could also be called a triangle pattern over here as well. And then we're counting down. So we had wave 1, which was nice, wave 2, which is nice, wave 3 here. Wave 4 got rather a little bit complicated in terms of an A wave here, B wave here, and a C wave here. And then we counted 5 waves down here. If the extension's in wave 3, well, their wave 1 and wave 5 will be roughly the same. Bit of a rule of thumb. So we could have a low in here, but and we have gone long here on the hourly chart and 4-hour whatever. But picking lows is always dangerous business. So as you can imagine, if you had support on the 28,000 over there, then because if this market moves up through here, then this is where the resistance is going to be. And there's a lot of weight in all of this. So getting support over here would change that view a little bit, wouldn't it? So, but look, we have a position in here. Let's just go in and have a little look at this. Probably on the hourly chart's better, but we just really got to see how we go here with this. That's all. We just trade what we see to the upside here, and that will be it. So the stop so far. So we're going to get resistance here. So if you wanted to take any profit, then this would be the place to do it here. Just bear with me a second. It just depends on what you want to do at this stage, but it looks like we've got 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So it's shaping up to be 5 waves. Not there yet though. So what we can do here, if we took this low here. Just trying to get a balance on all of this. So let's just work out a rough sort of plan. That's if that top comes into place, then we can always draw the outside thing. So up to here, then we'll look for an A and a B and a C wave that can come back to this point here, and then move up from there. If we get the 5 waves up, we've only got really 3 waves up so far. Just remove this here. So if we've entered here and you take some profit here, then put the stop, that number there is likely to come back and test it. Anyway, work it out so you're in profit. Let's just leave the stop under here for the time being. Let's see if we get 5 waves here first. Look at taking some sort of profit here. We can always move back in, especially if that 28 becomes the support at that point. I don't want to hold all through this if it's just going to come back and hit on this number here. We'll just see. I'll have to have a look at China as well, and have a look at the other market generally as well. But anyway, we're on our way there, and China's much the same as well. Let's have a look at that. Don't worry about that count too much just yet. So we were short in here, and we had put our stop down to here. We had China and Hong Kong doing different things, and so we're out here. This is also the 50-60% retracement level here, so we can also, let's 100, 200 and 300, that's all of group 1 of course, and 800 would come into here as well as the other minor level here as well. So let's just see, we've got these 5 waves down here and let's just see if we get 5 waves. It does look like we've got 5 waves up here. If I just, this is just a 1 hour chart, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and back for 2. Probably 3 and 4 here, but it does overlap here, so it might be different from that, I'm not sure. And then I can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So in a nutshell, we don't really want to see it move back below the 61.8% mark here. We do want to see it have a bit of a dance across the 11,000 here, of course, so that will be the support here, and this here, the 11,000 here. So in terms of patterns, the classic trading levels pattern will be the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level in 5 waves, and an A and a B and a C back into this point here. So we can look to allow that to play out, and then this would be the safe trade to the upside here at that point. So just, that one there, after this comes back down here and then moves up from there. Let's just see if it does that from that point. So look, we're at lows in the markets. I think that we've got a turning point here. It's the price action starting to validate it, but it hasn't quite validated on the Hong Kong market just yet. But we've got our setups in place here now for these markets. On to Japan here. So Japan, we've had a look. We've been looking at the Nikkei as wave 4 down through here, and then a series of, wave 1, an A and a B and a C for wave 2, then up for 1 and back for 2, up for 1 and back for 2, and then this one here would also be up for 1 and back for 2. So really we want to start looking at getting entries in this area through here. We'll go in and have a closer look at that. So this could also be counted corrective here as well. So we're not out of the woods yet. But what we would expect, or what I would expect, is that because we're in wave 2 here and 2 and 2 here and then 2 here, this in Elliott terms we call this because wave 2 is finished, we're in the 3rd wave now. A bit like calling centuries in 20th century and so on. So the 3rd of the 3rd of the 3rd is norm, and the 3rd again. 3 lots of 3s here is where we really start to look to go long here in this market. So Let's just go in and have a bit of a look at that here. So from this wave 2 low here, wave 1, ABC for wave 2 here, and then looking at, we'll go and have a look at this a bit closer, but basically wave 1 up here, and then wave 2 coming back here. So if there's any mistake made here, I'll just want to go over this here. So this, sorry, we've got 23 here, and the number 3 here is top of group 1. So getting support on this just triggers a long trade straight up. Then we've also got 23,000, 100, 200 and 300. So this is also a group 1 here at 300 of a smaller degree. So if we get support on top of this 300, that means that we're going to be leaving this number here at that point. So if this market here, just save that, I'm looking at counting this as 5 waves, look at that in a moment, then expecting an ABC back into this box here and then moving up from there, and then just putting a line through this A, B and C here to go long here. That's fine, but if it doesn't pull back into here and you miss it out, then make sure that you're long on 23,300 here as a tested support. Okay, let's just go in and have a look at this 5-wave structure to the upside here. So we were counting this before in terms of wave 1, so we don't need that anymore, don't need that anymore. In fact, we can count this a little bit differently now, so just bear with me a second. Keep these here. Okay, and then we can look at these here. I mean, once this high comes in here too, then you'll be able to measure the 61.8% retracement level back here again. I mean, if it pulls back, that's the thing. So yeah, that spike concerns me a little bit. I mean, it doesn't change the count. I mean, it doesn't change the count from bullish to bearish as such, but it just could add another little wave in. But even from this point here, we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So just put this a little bit higher up here. I mean, you can go long now as well, but you've got to leave the stop past the 61.8% mark here. So I'll just borrow this here. So it's really the top and the top of the B wave here that we want, this will probably be up here further. But if the other market's going to be bullish, this could run a little bit higher through here, so be mindful of that. And then we also want to be, I mean, if you see a nice support developed on here and then moving up, well, then you'll probably need to move in there as well. But I just want to put this on top of here. I won't put that there. So if this gets a tested support up here, for whatever reasons, I'll do it over here. So it will be the arrival, the reaction, and then the first high above the level. And then there'll be an ABC correction here that will come down to the number 2 here, the 200. Sometimes this move here comes down to the 150 area here, but most of the time it'll sit on 2, but it can come to the 150, so be mindful about that. Okay, and then going up from there. So this would be the, either way across here. So you want that pattern. If this just continues to trip on straight up here, then if this occurs here, then you'll need to be long from that point. That's what I'm saying. We don't want to miss that. And this pullback here may not pull all the way back here. This can also just pull back into, I won't put it in green, but it can also just pull back into group 2 here, the lower end of group 2 here. That's the norm, you know. So but we have to prepare for a spike lower as well. We have to prepare for quite a few things all the time. So that's there. Let's have a look at India. So India, we've been looking at it a little bit different, so more bullish in this case. So we've got wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. As I mentioned always, that I could have made a mistake in here, and this top here in orange is actually a blue wave 3 here. But like I mentioned, it doesn't really matter because we're still looking for this pullback in through here as a classic trading levels pattern, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then an ABC correction. So we've got our ABC correction in here for this wave 4 here. This wave 2 was simple, so this one here could get complicated. So first of all, we can just push straight. Whoops a daisy. Let's get a different tool for that. First of all, we can just push straight up from here. We need to play for that. We also need to play that this wave 4 can get more complicated. So we may move up in a B wave here, and then a C wave back down here, and then up from here. So I don't know the answer to that just yet. On the 4-hour chart here, we've had a short trade in here, we've taken profit here, we've done all the right things. I've counted this down as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. I know that somebody else might have it counted down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here as well. And then in that case, then this area here, the 50 and the 61.8% retracement level, will come in as this wave B here and give us grief here, and then we'll have to call this the A wave here, the B wave here, and then down for the C wave here. So we're also long here at the moment on the turn here, so that's fine. I'd probably suggest that taking, you know, some profit at 11,500 is good. If the 11,500 becomes a nice tested support, then we'll be, you know, you need to look to go be long from that point. But let's just go in and have a little go back over that in a little bit more detail. So we looked at the last wave coming down, and we're looking at moving up long in these positions here. It does appear that we've got, it does appear that it looks quite impulsive at this stage, so we'll still see this 1 and 2 and 3 here is doing a little ABC for 4 here, and we'll push up into this space here. But this 11,500 is also the medium level as well, and it carries a fair bit of weight, so we're going to see a dance across here. So yeah, look, I'm sorry, I just don't know if we've got this as an A and a B and a C as wave 4 finished here, and we move straight up from here, but you'll just have to use your own noggin here. So when we get to here, it's going to meet supply, so there's going to be resistance here, and there'll probably be another shot to the upside pushing it up that will fail and come back down. But what it does is it gives you those reference points here to go long on. So that's what you'll just have to do at that point. You'll just have to see if that reference point comes into play as your setup. And look, nice if it does, nice if it doesn't. And if that moves it in back up to here, like this here, and you can see this here, then you might be able to get another low or just get support on 11,500 and get one position there, and start building up through all of these. I'm going to remove the 700 here. The 600 is important, and there will be reactions, and the psychology will play out at this whole number and also this number here as well. But it's really all about this. So this is, don't take your eye off the ball. That number there as a tested support is more important as a support than the 700. Well, obviously if we've got support here, we're going to get it here, but in the 600 in that particular case, yeah. So that's really that's the main game here, that number there, even though that the other two are important, and you can use them in a variety of ways as well. And of course number 8 here is a profit taking number, so you'll see a reaction from there as well. But if that comes support, then you can build in on top of that. So let's just see if we're going to be walking up the stairs here, or we're going to be falling down the stairs at this little space here. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for tuning in, always much appreciated, and enjoy the weekend. Cheers.